Leading off starts right now, friends. How is everybody doing? I am Chris Welsh, aka The Welsh, and joining me today for a double dose of duty this week, it's my great Bubba, KC Bubba, in the house. What's going on, my friend?
Not much, friendo. Another wonderful day joining you and your pretty face to talk some fantasy baseball and keep things going. It's been a wild time on the diamond these days. Lots of fun.
It has. By the way, speaking of pretty face, I don't know if you noticed, Bogman and I were doing a live stream yesterday on the ITL Twitch, and he live shaved his face live on the thing with a bald. He already has a bald head. He had a big old beard, and he lost a thing, our wheel, and he live shaved his face. Speaking of pretty faces, so do not go and tweet him about him looking like Pat. Tell him about how pretty he looks. That's what I
I
say.
am going to be texting him immediately when this show
Yeah.
is over. Oh, this
Yeah,
is
go up
good.
twitch.tv/in this league, Bubba. You can watch it, you can see it, and it's a very, very pretty face. But there was a lot of fun baseball, and Yankees win. Yankees win. Josh Donaldson hits a walk-off grand slam to bring them back with a win over Tampa Bay. It has been a little bit rough in the New York streets as of recent. A lot of weird, stupid criticism from just idiot people that don't understand baseball and really just the rigors of 162 games, but whatever that is out there. Josh Donaldson rallies the Yankees back as they keep going. But how about this? That's not the New York story I care about. The New York story I care about is Brett Beatty. Yes, we talked about him yesterday. First thing I could really tell you is guy hits ball hard. Last night, he hit the ball very hard. How about his first swing in the major leagues hitting a homer? How beautiful was that, Bubba?
It was amazing. It was a beautiful left-handed swing, like the kind you dream about. The dude we knew was going to be good, and it was cool to see it happen. His family going crazy, all the videos you've seen. So, yeah, no, he's one of we you got to be loving this as a prospect guy. And you'll probably talk about it later. But I was on Tuesday. It was Langoliers. He's already gone deep. Like all these prospects are coming up, and it's been a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like the calls have been pretty decent, though. I totally screwed myself yesterday. I mean, shout out to Wonky for giving me some a nice tweet credit about Shane Langoliers, but like I literally went on yesterday thinking the Wonky Wednesday bonus was going to be a young guy that no one else was picking, and guess who I picked? Shane Langoliers. But then I realized it was just anyone over 27, so then I changed my thing, saying, "Oh, why? By the way, Shane Langoliers is probably still going to hit a homer, but I'm going to take Julio Rodriguez, who now will probably go over." It's exactly what happened. Ridiculously stupid of me. So I took Julio, didn't get it. Shane Langoliers did hit a bomb, but these big power guys with huge EVs. Question about the contact is always the thing. They're just they're doing it right now. They're making really good contact, and they've got it going. Brett Beatty also just makes better contact, I think, than a guy like Shane Langoliers overall. And we've seen the maturation from when you were here last year in the AFL, right?
Yes. I saw Beatty. He was yeah.
Yeah, I remember you came a little bit late, and I think I missed you on that. But like, Beatty since then had some contact issues. That's changed. And bam, big homer. Everyone got to kind of see what this guy's all about. And I said, the worst case of worse, he's going to hit the ball really hard, and there's some homers in there. Go ahead and speculate. Boggs and I were actually talking about this, Bubba, in that like the Dodgers announced that Cody Bellinger, they're giving him like a little rest. They're going to like give him like a little rest, which is like a super nice way to be like, get out, get off the bench, get on the bench. You're not going. Shout out to Wonky again for the great call on Gallo, which I could never and still don't believe at this day that he's being successful. But you've got Chris Taylor and Gallo playing really well, and I said it a couple weeks ago, but I've just reiterated it. Like, listen, the biggest payoff you can have right now is your lack of patience in fantasy. You don't need to be patient anymore. It's almost fantasy playoff time. Some are starting next week. I am in a Scott White league. So your lack of patience is going to be your biggest payoff. If you were still holding on to Cody Bellinger, bye-bye. And I would speculate on Brett Beatty. I would speculate on Shane Langoliers. Why not? These guys are really having a good little run early on. And Beatty is a guy that just obviously makes sense to pick up. I mean, if you had to choose, though, Bubba, Langoliers or Beatty, where are you going?
I lean Langoliers just for the fact that the Mets, like if things get healthy, Beatty maybe goes away. Long term, I'd want Beatty. Long term for sure, but for like the rest of the season, I want Langoliers. And to your patience, or to your cutting guys thing, I did that this past week. I cut Votto, Eovaldi, and a couple other guys in 12-team leagues, and knock on wood, it worked out because they all are hurt now. But it was just time to trim the fat, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. And like Angela's saying something that is interesting in this thing, too early to jump on the Beatty train. No. Well, sure. Like, I don't think any prospect you should go and drop anything immense for. But I would hope everybody, you do one of two things at this time of the year. Is I would have, unless your team is like awesome, by the way, you should have one pitching spot that can be a speculative burn and churn. And you should also, especially if your offense has any type of little struggles, have a churn and burn offensive spot that you can go through. I think you should try to find a way to pick up these guys if they're out there. So we don't need to be like, hey, it's too early to jump on the train. No, go and do it, because guess what? When they struggle, you pick up the next guy, because there are a couple more guys. We talked about Josh Young yesterday. That's someone I think that's going to be coming up soon. I think he hit his 5th homer yesterday. He hit another homer yesterday. Wow. He's destroying AAA. No reason for him to be there, regardless of the lack of pitches. But have a burn and churn, because it's not uncommon for us to see these young guys be able to pull off, 3 or 4 weeks that are really good without pitchers readjusting to them. And that's about all we have left in the season, Bubba.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And especially in those shallower 12-team and lower leagues, like literally you can – for every outfielder that you have on your roster, there's probably 5 or 6 that you can run for the next week. Like there's so many guys out there. Maximize at bats, maximize the whole thing. So I'm 100% with you on that one. Like, don't be in love with anybody right now. If there's any sign of weakness, move on, run the hot toy, get a new one, just keep going. So yeah.
Treat this time of year in fantasy baseball like college. You're just experimenting. You're not taking anything serious. You're not getting
swipe
any
left
big
and swipe right, swipe
exactly.
left and swipe right. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You're not looking for a long-term ad. You're just looking for like a couple short terms a week. That's what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Couple long balls and call it good.
Hey, baby, that's what you got to do. Craig Kimbrell picked up a save to preserve Tony Gonsolin's 15th win of the year. So I wanted to talk about this. I was a leader of kind of the Tony Gonsolin regression train. And he had a bump because by the way, he still to this day, he has one of the wildest swings between ERA and xFIP. It's like a 2 ERA and a 3.7 xFIP, which still makes him good. And my point has always been Gonsolin is a good pitcher. It's just this realm of where he's at really doesn't feel, and the underlying stats don't really seem to back up that it's going to be sustainable. Well, in July, it started to bump a little bit. He had 5 starts in July. 3 of those had 3 or more earned runs in there. There were a couple blow-ups that were back-to-back, and everyone was like, oh, here we go. In August, it's just turned right back around, Bubba. I mean, this guy, outside of that bump, I'm looking here. How many starts this year do you think he's given up more than 3 earned runs?
I'm assuming it's just that bump, like 2 or 3 maybe.
That's it. It's those 2 the entire season. He's only given up 1 earned run in the month of August. Strikeouts are going. He's gone over 6 in a couple of last ones. He's got 15 wins. It's still all crazy. He is holding... I didn't look at the leaderboard. It's still got to be the league's biggest differential. He's holding batters to like a 200 BABIP right now. I mean, he's doing stuff that feels like it's got to adjust. And like I said, when you look at the xFIP, it still seems like it would blow up, but it's not happening. And this is what happens. And this is why baseball is so awesome and fun. You can look at all the underlying things that say this will happen, and then it just doesn't. And Tony Gonsolin continues to be one of the most valuable pitchers out there. And I guess at this point, really the only question is you can't even, there's no selling or anything like that, but are you comfortable the rest of the way through with these big, he's had that little bump. You see the underlying stats that feel like it should break apart, but it ain't. How comfortable are you as far as ace status with Tony Gonsolin now?
Oh, he's just locked.
You think it's real too?
He's locked in. Well, real, no, there should be some regression. Like the BABIP's insane. You mentioned the xFIPs and all the underlying metrics that'll point to ERA regression, but he's still very good. Like 3.7, we take that all the time. So, especially on a Dodgers team that scores runs, that's still going to get him wins. So he's for real. Like I liked him coming into the year. I was wondering how many innings. He looks like he's good to go, but there will be a regression at some point in time. But I don't know if it'll be this year because he's feeling it again. And I'm just going to keep rolling him out there time like he did against the Padres with Soto and company a few weeks ago, and he just dealt. So I'm not too worried about it right now.
Yeah, and just looking to one only biggest change, and sometimes how they designate these pitches makes you think something different. But one of the biggest changes you see with him is the uptick in his curveball usage. And sometimes you can see like cutters and sliders get mixed in by different sites, sometimes even curves and sliders. But it shows like a 4% downtick on his slider usage, a 5% on his fastball, and it goes to the split finger and curveball. Like those have taken the uptick, almost 4% on the curveball, split finger around 6%. And then you're seeing just wild results with big wins, great offensive support behind him, and sometimes luck be the pitcher tonight. And that's what's happening with Tony Gonsolin, 15 wins, and it has just not cooled down. The other headline, Shohei Ohtani went 4 for 5 with a homer, triple, and 4 RBIs, but the Angels lost because, of course, Bubba. That's what they do. It's the best thing that they're at. Actually, their best stat this year is just continuously losing when they put up weird, awesome numbers by great players.
Let's real quick. I'm going to divert something. I know we have a schedule, but let's just be realistic here because we're always mad that Trout never gets to be in the postseason. Shohei's going to be a free agent pretty soon. He seems like a super nice guy. Please tell me he doesn't sign with the Angels. Like he needs to be on the postseason. He needs to be in October under the lights. We need Shohei.
Oh, I can't imagine a scenario where he returns.
I hope not, but it just feels like there's something there though. It just feels like, I don't know. I just hope to all powers to be. It does not happen.
I mean, if the Angels could do something, it's just they put themselves in a hole. They had the Syndergaard stuff. They've got the Anthony Rendon contract. You would hope not. If they could make a big swing and change, but none of their prospects work. Their development is silly. I just don't know how a player, with the limited time they have in his skill set, could go and look and be like, oh, I have to return here. I mean, you could stay in your same town and go play for the Dodgers. That makes way more sense.
Well, Wonky says Dodgers or Yankees. I've already heard rumors that he likes San Francisco because of the Asian culture there, which would make me over the moon.
Can you imagine? I mean,
dude.
Bubba.
It'd be amazing.
Bubba.
Yeah. It's not going to happen.
He leaves the Angels and Mike Trout to go play with that powerhouse of Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford.
Hey, prospect guy. We know what it's going to be for that long-term deal. It's not going to be Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford. Let's be real. Look at Joey Bart. The dude's hitting all of a sudden. Amazing. Let a kid get used to the bigs. What happens?
Marco Luciano's been hurt. He's all right. I don't know. I've lived in both. I've lived in LA and I've lived in San Francisco.
Maybe he goes to Seattle. Maybe he goes to Seattle. That's like the pipeline
West
up
Coast.
there.
He's just going to stay on the West Coast. I think it's the Dodgers. I agree with Wonky.
Please, no.
I don't want it. I don't want it, but I think it's 100% the Dodgers. They'll drop some money and they'll bring him in and he can stay in his house and he can be on a team that wins and that knows how to manage prospects, players, wins, everything. Not the Angels. That's not them. Mike Trout, though, should be back pretty soon. On the injury front, Max Fried, after that horrible bonk the other day, little concussion type hit when he was throwing, is going to be activated and start tonight against Jacob deGrom. So welcome back. Tony Russo. That's going to be a fun matchup. Hey, here's Jacob deGrom. By the way, here's a tease. Wait until one of the bets. I have a bet for you that we have not seen all season, and it has to do with Jacob deGrom. You can probably imagine what it's going to look like here in just a little bit. Tony Russo stated that Luis Robert received a cortisone injection in his wrist after feeling pain following a swing on Wednesday. Perpetually injured.
But they won't put him on the IL. They said they gave him a shot and they won't put him on the IL. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, it's Tony La Russa. Well, one of the most amazing moments all season. Did you see the fan telling La Russa to pinch hit Adam Engel, and then he woke up and went over and did it? Yeah. Dude, I was telling you guys, not that anyone needed it, but anyone listening, you remember in the March episodes when I was joining Joe and I was out here in spring training and I was telling you guys, I'm like, guys, I don't know what's going on. Tony La Russa's not doing anything here. He literally, while practices were going on, you kind of have access here. There's 2 fields. You had Jim Tomey over here working with the hitters. You got, I don't remember the other coaches over here. They're doing drills. Tony La Russa was never actually standing there watching or coaching or managing or doing anything. He drove around his cart a whole bunch and he was just talking to people. He's like a manager mascot than anything else.
So bad. He's so unbelievably bad.
Yeah, he's amazing. Tyler Mahle left his start early and undergoing an MRI on his right shoulder. Fastball was averaging 89 versus his regular 93. So something might not be good in the waters. And then Drake Skubal underwent successful surgery to repair the flexor tendon in his left elbow. Does that have you worried about him next year at all?
Yeah, anytime you talk about the main joints and parts of your body that require you to throw a baseball, I have to see things. I'm hesitant for sure.
Who are you more worried about, Drake Skubal and the flexor issue or the elbow surgery for Walker Buehler?
Well, I was out on Buehler into the season to begin with, but I'd probably say Buehler right now because it's so vague. It sounds like Tommy John surgery, but it's not Tommy John surgery, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't like elbow stuff. I don't like those elbow ones. Here's a fun one from Sarah Langs. It's Slangs on Sports. Guardians in the 8th, this was last night, struck out 3 times, then proceeded to score 6 times. It was the first time in at least the expansion era since 1961 that a team scored 6+ runs in an inning after striking out 3 times. This was via Elias. So what happened was Andrew Chafin, I was just about to say his nickname, but probably I won't say the nickname I use for him on this show. Andrew Chafin struck out 3 batters in the inning. However, the third strikeout bounced off the backstop, and then the Guardians proceeded to just annihilate. And that's one of those you look back on and you go, woof, woof. Guardians, they do their business. I'm sorry.
Happens. It happens. A good thing they're not going to make the playoffs, so we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, barely not. I have a trivia question for you, and it has to do with our friend, Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty became the 5th Mets player to homer in his first career at bat. But, ladies and gentlemen, who is the last to do it? Who is the last to do it? And I'm going to give you a hint. It is in the 2000s. It is in the 2000s. So one more time. Brett Beatty became the first Mets player to homer in his first career at bat. Who is the last to do it? It was in 2000s. I always think about these. I've told this story a gajillion times, but I worked in sports radio in the early 2000s. And at one time I was like just this engineer, and I would do remote broadcasts. And it was like the big sports show here in Phoenix, this show Gambo and Ash. And I loved prospects back then. And I remember on the broadcast, Carlos Quentin was getting his call up. And I had told the guy, his name was Mark Asher, I was like, Carlos Quentin is hitting a homer tonight in his first game. And he looked at me and he was like, come on. I'm like, dude, bet me. And he did. And he hit the homer. And I just walked in with the biggest like, like when I walked in, and he had to give me credit on air for it. And I always think about those moments when you call them in first at bats, but that's very selfish of mine. David Wright was a guess. That is incorrect, because remember, this is in the 2000s. Yeah, which I guess David Wright probably would have been there. But for last rookie to do it, because there's only 5 in Mets history. And it's a little bit of an obscure name. We'll do some stats, and then we'll come back to it, see if anybody has any guesses. Stat hero Shohei Ohtani, 4 for 5 with a bomb. 4 RBIs, offensively does it, pitching does it, yet he's, 4 or 5 to 1 for MVP. Sean Murphy had 2 homers, continues to hit for the A's. A's have great catchers. They don't got anything else. They got Sean Murphy and Shea Langoliers. Starling Marte had 2 homers. Cal Raleigh, 2 homers. I believe, Bub, is this correct? Doesn't Cal Raleigh lead or is tied for the most homers by catchers this year? Did I see that stat?
I would like to say you're correct. He's got like 17 or something. He's been amazing this season. While you're talking, I can look it up, but he's been absolutely a godsend when it comes to the catcher's position.
Well, let's see. I think I'm underqualified. Will Smith and Wilson Contreras both have, I'm going to just lower this on here. They both have 17, and if Cal Raleigh has 17, that would have him tied. Yes, that is correct. Cal Raleigh took the lead last night. I'm sorry. He leads Major League Baseball, all catchers, with 18 homers. Here's a fun fact as well. He leads all catchers in homers, yet the next 4 are all over 300 plate appearances. He is not. He has done it in 86 games. The only person that even competes on that range is Salvador Perez, who has 17 in 77 games. Raleigh has 86 in 18 games. Wild numbers, 30% K rate and only hitting 208. It's very Mike Zunino of him.
Yep. I would just look at William Contreras in 20 fewer games. There's only 2 fewer home runs.
Yeah, that's a wild number. Hassan Kim, 3 for 4. Jake Cronenworth had a homer, 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Alex Verdugo, perfect 3 for 3. Brian Reynolds, we spent a lot of time talking about him on the back tick on how good he's been recently. 2 for 4 with a homer. Jesse Winker had a homer, and JD Davis, is he relevant?
Off a right-handed pitcher. Off a right-handed pitcher, everybody. It happened.
He's not special, as Joe would say. The correct answer right here was Mike. You had to have looked this up.
With the dates and everything right there. I was like, come on.
I mean, that's not. Yeah, that's a look up. So no points awarded. But yes, it was 2005 Mike Jacobs, and then I guess Kaz Matsui by the clear copy and paste was the 2004. But yes, it was Mike Jacobs. Remember, big powered Mike Jacobs. He was the last to do it for the Mets. So
I appreciate the Benny Agbayani shout out though from Kalia. That was good. That's throwback.
Throwback. On the pitching side, we talked about Gonsolin, 7 innings, 8 strikeouts, gave up only 2 hits, was awesome. Ross Stripling struck out 7 and 6 1/3. Ranger Suarez with a rare good performance, 7 and 8 strikeouts. Nick Lodolo, 8 Ks, 7 strikeouts, 5 hits. Lodolo is almost becoming money on those K props right now. They're just trying to catch up. Oh, that was on CBS. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty common trivia question. So actually, that's probably not a surprise. It was on CBS that they were talking about that. And Carlos Rodon, 11 strikeouts in 6 innings on the good side. The bad side for hitters, Ryan McMahon, 4 Ks to go along with Matt Olson, who both went 0 for 4. Randy Rosarena, JT Realmuto, Austin Hayes, and Connor Joe, all 0 for with 3 strikeouts. On the pitching side, Pablo Lopez lit up. 4 2/3, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Jake Odorizzi. Wasn't this Wonky's thing? I think Wonky said yesterday, even if the K marker was 1, she wouldn't take it. Jake Odorizzi gave up 3 homers, 5 earned runs. Tuki Toussaint gave up 5, and Mike Clevenger did not do so well. Jake Odorizzi, Bubba. Not
really
so
bad. Yeah, I just laugh when teams trade for him and sign him. I'm like, you guys know who he is. Like, Denny Green knows exactly who he is. We should too.
He's like a burn and churn player. Everyone's just passing around. What was it the other day I just saw? God dang it. Who was the player? They had this big marker, and I'm completely drawing a blank. It was like the person who's been traded the most on teams. It was just a tweet the other day. And when they've had all the different jerseys. And
wasn't it? It was Jesse Chavez. I think. I want to say it was Jesse Chavez. Yeah.
It was like the career he had. Was
he has got traded again. He has got traded again.
Jake Odorizzi feels like that. He kind of feels like he just gets passed around here. All right. On the home run calls, the Small was only 27. What is this? Smalls was the only 27 club winner. I didn't realize what that said because he called Brett Beatty. So the under 27 marker for yesterday, which they had to be under 27 to get double points, and Smalls was the only one to do it with Brett Beatty. I'd have been number 2 if I would have stuck with my stupid Shea Langoliers pick, but I didn't. The board did not have much change, any, as a matter of fact, at the top. High Cubby is still in the lead at 44. D Blum at 43. Go Cards, Mike Mayer, and Terry at 41. So only 5 people in the 40s as a home run race gets a little bit tighter. And wait, we're also going to give you a stat with Bubba here on Bubba's home run calls when we get to the home run call here in just a second. But let's check out our friends over at BetMGM. If you're looking to make a bet, sign up with them today. Use the promo code Leading Off and get a $1,000 risk-free bet. Why would you not do that? Do it today on the app, on the website. Leading Off, the king of sports bets, without my crown or anything like that. Bubba, I've got 4 bets for you. And as always, I've got the top total base bet that the Betting Pros MLB prop cheat sheet has generated. But then I've got the top plus money one, and then the same thing on strikeouts. Their number 1 algorithmed strikeout prop, and then the top plus money strikeout. So what we have, the best total base marker for them on DraftKings is Juan Soto, who you only need 1 total base today, but it's juiced at minus 180. So you're going to have to figure out how to make that work for yourself. The best plus money total base bet, Alex Bregman, 120, plus 120 for 1.5 over on the Sugar House for Alex Bregman versus the White Sox today. On the strikeouts, Jacob deGrom, there is your best bet. And listen to this, 9.5 for the under is the bet. And wait for this. I've not only have I not seen 9.5 on anything we've done this year, you only get minus 143 if you pick the under on 9.5. It is, I mean, they are baiting you in for the Jacob deGrom one. And then lastly, Jose Barrios plus 105 for over 4.5 strikeouts versus New York. So, Bubba, I gave you a lot there. Soto and deGrom are juiced up. Bregman and Barrios are plus money. What do you like out of these?
Well, I love the Soto one. It is pretty juicy, as you said, so you got to parlay it with something most likely. But give me the Bregman one. Bregman's been hitting really well. Giolito's been getting lit up this year, especially by right-handed hitters. I think Bregman's a very intriguing one at plus money.
Yeah, I like the Bregman one. I like kind of like the Barrios. I'm so enamored with the Jacob deGrom one where it's like they had to go. I mean, 9.5, but you don't blame him because he's been absolute money.
He has 12 and 10 Ks in each of his last 2 starts.
And it's because it's Atlanta. Atlanta is the big strikeout marker. Mm-hmm. So this is one where it's just like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I mean, honestly, if I were taking a bet, I'm taking the over. There's no way I'm taking the under on it.
No, take the plus money with deGrom, 100%.
Especially minus 143 to go under 9.5. If you gave me plus money, you might bait me into it. There's no way against Atlanta I'm taking the under, even if it's 9.5. But I don't think I'm making this bet. It's just a wild number at 9.5. It really caught my eye. So you like Bregman. I think I would go Bregman too. That's probably my number 1. And then honestly, it would be the inverse of going over on Jacob deGrom, which I don't think I'd want to play around with that.
Yeah.
Over on the DFS slate side, pulled some FanDuel pitching numbers and a couple stack things, and we'll get your take, Bubba, across the board. Jacob deGrom is 12,000 on FanDuel today. Yu Darvish, 10-6. Kind of like Adam Wainwright against Colorado. I've been doing that, I guess, all week at 9-9, and Frankie Montas is 9-4. And then just throwing out, because I'll let you talk on both of those. As far as implied run totals, the only team I saw today with over 5 projected was San Diego. So you can take that for what it is. But I think you should also look at Texas. Simeon leading off on FanDuel is only 2-4. And for St. Louis would be another team I might look at stacks. Lars Nootbaar was 2-6. So even though the implied is San Diego, Texas and St. Louis would be two teams I look at. What do you think on the pitching side and the hitting side?
Yeah, for the early action, Gallen and Waino are kind of my two top options. They're not paying a lot of money. Evening DeGrom for sure. If you want a cheapie, and JT Brubaker against the Red Sox, not a lot of lefties in that lineup against him, but it's not pretty. Stacking it up wise though, early on, I love the Cardinals and the Rangers, as you mentioned. Orioles are a little sneaky too, but you mentioned Nootbaar at 2.6 on Family, 2,400 on DK, even cheaper. And then for the evening, it's a little murkier in that situation, but you have Carlos Hernandez versus Patino, but more importantly, you have Anibal Sanchez. So those would be the 3 games I'd look to attack with Tampa Bay, Kansas City, and San Diego.
I love all the DeGrom love in here, JP. All hail DeGrom. Brian said, I think DeGrom could strike out 10 Braves with his eyes closed. I think that 10 strikeouts could hit in the 4th. The more that I'm talking about it, it's such a wildly big number. I think I would actually.
You're talking yourself into it.
I'm talking myself into it more, and there's no way I'm playing I don't blame the algorithm for having the under, because I don't know how often, if I've ever seen any site's algorithm project over 10, so I don't blame this. This is the these are the books just readjusting regardless of their own algorithm has. But I think he could have this by the 10th. I mean, and yes, exactly what I'm saying. Or the 4th. I'm sorry. I think he can have the 10 by the 4th. DeGrom is nasty. The Braves strike out. I don't know. This one feels very, very good. Home run calls, Bubba. We found out Bubba this season is 3 for 4. You have a lot of pressure now because you have been money on the home run calls today. The tight race at the top continues on. I just screwed myself out of a 2-homer push yesterday because I overthought it. Bubba, what do you got? Who do you got today on the home run call?
I'm going with someone with a 9-game hitting streak with 5 home runs over that stretch with a sub 6% strikeout rate. And if you like some Italian food, I'm going Vinny Pasquantino versus Luis Patino, who loves getting smacked around by left-handed hitters. Give me some Vinny P. Let's have some fun with that. 6th homer in 10 days for him.
Didn't you pick Vinny P on Tuesday? Who did you pick on Tuesday?
On Tuesday, I had Franmil Reyes.
You did have Franmil. I think it was Wonky that had Vinny P early in the year. God, Vinny has really settled in, by the way. He's really settled in.
It's just the perfect thing. I mentioned Bart, Vinny, so many guys. Let the young kids get comfortable. Just let them get comfortable. There's a talent for a reason. Let them go.
Yeah, that's why, take a little looky look over at Josh Young when he comes in. Let the young guys play. Let the dogs eat. We got a BVP player, the number 1, Mike Mayer, Manny Machado. If you're looking at BVP, he has the most homers versus any hitter on a pitcher for today. Wonky's got Anthony Rizzo. I'm going to go back to Goldie. Goldie against Colorado is always a play I like. I think it's Anthony Senzatella, and I like Goldie in this matchup. And then Dr. Glenn gave my my hosting stat line as a starter today. 6 1/3. I gave up 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts in my performance. I was dominant yesterday. It was a DeGrom. I was an Alcantara-like performance. This feels very. What does this line look like? This is Dylan Cease.
Tony Gonsolin.
This is a Tony Gonsolin line. 6 1/3, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. Pretty good, not too bad. I'll take that for my performance. We do need to go back and track how I've been doing. What is my ERA? What is my K per 9 as far as a host goes? We've been a lot better this week than we were last week. Bubba, you as well, my friend. Don't you have a bench of Bubba coming up tonight?
Yep, Bubba in the Bloom tonight. We're recapping the degeneracy that is our first 2023 NFBC Draft Champions Draft that 15 of us did the first 7 rounds last night on a Zoom call. So we are going to recap that one. Bloom and I actually drafted 5th and 6th in that draft. It was highly entertaining. J-Rod went 4th overall.
Ooh, I like it. September is usually, in my world, mid-September is usually draft to next year type of stuff, but I'm always interested where those go. I don't know if I'm too surprised about that.
I was going to take him 5th. I was so mad when he went 4th. I was like, I wanted him to fall to me.
Yeah, Dynasty, I have him 5th, overall, or right. Yeah, I think it's 5th overall in Dynasty. As far as redraft goes, hadn't really thought if I would take him top 5, but I think he's in that, especially with guys like Soto and Tatis probably coming off of that. Another legit one. Oh, let me ask you this real quick. This is a tease for it. Did Acuna go before Julio?
Acuna went 6th.
That's what I thought.
No, that's why it's gonna be some fun discussions on the show tonight. We do it live like this. So if you guys want to hop in and ask questions, it's very interesting to look at that board.
Wonky says, who were 1 and 3? Tune in tonight. Go and tune in tonight.
There you go. I can't give away all the secrets, Wonky. Come on.
That's right. BD Intric on Twitter. Follow him. Check it out. I think you always have the tweet out for the live stream.
It goes about 11:30 Eastern, so it's late for the East Coasters, but you can always catch it later on YouTube.
Very cool stuff. Follow on BD Intric on Twitter. Follow me. Is it the Welsh, friends? Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for the stat line, my friends. And we will be back again tomorrow. Chris Clegg, I think, is in the house to end out the week. For Bubba, I'm Welsh. Rocket, friends. Peace out. What did you do?